Hello, and welcome to Folk Tales of Freedom, where we uncover the hidden stories of history, stories of resistance, resilience, and the indomitable human spirit. Please like and subscribe as we go on. Today, we're diving into one of the most devastating chapters in human history, the transatlantic slave trade. For over 400 years, millions of Africans were torn from their homes, sold as property, and forced to endure unimaginable suffering. But history often overlooks a vital truth. From the very beginning, there was resistance. The story begins in the 15th century when European ships arrived on African shores, seeking wealth and power. At first, they traded goods like textiles, guns, and liquor for prisoners of war. But this trade soon spiraled into something far more sinister, consuming entire communities. Villages were raided, families torn apart, and millions of lives forever changed. Over 12 million Africans were forced onto ships bound for the Americas. But they didn't go quietly. Queen Nzinga, a symbol of defiance. One of the earliest and most powerful examples of resistance came from a woman, Queen Nzinga of Ndongo and Matamba. In the 1600s, Nzinga stood against the Portuguese, who sought to enslave her people and claim her land. She used diplomacy, military tactics, and alliances to fight back. And in one legendary moment, when the Portuguese refused her a seat during peace negotiations, she ordered one of her servants to kneel and formed her own throne. That act wasn't just a clever power move. It was a symbol of her refusal to submit. Nzinga's story reminds us that resistance doesn't always come in the form of battles. Sometimes it's in the small, defiant moments that say, "I will not be broken." But resistance wasn't just about fighting on the battlefield. It was also fought with stories. Across Africa, folktales like those of Anansi the spider, known for his wit and cleverness, became symbols of hope. These tales taught people that even the small and seemingly powerless could outsmart the mighty. Storytelling kept cultural identity alive. It was a way to resist the erasure of who they were, even in the face of slavery. These stories spread across the Atlantic, passed down by those who refused to let their heritage die. Even on the horrifying journey across the Atlantic, the Middle Passage, resistance thrived. Enslaved Africans, chained together in the dark, suffocating holds of ships, found ways to organize. Some staged mutinies, overtaking the ships that carried them. Others made the ultimate sacrifice, choosing to leap into the ocean rather than endure the horrors of slavery. Their courage reminds us that even in the depths of despair, the human spirit can fight back. And then there were the Maroons, escaped slaves who built hidden communities in the Americas. These settlements, tucked away in forests and mountains, became symbols of defiance. The Maroons didn't just survive, they thrived. They created their own societies, free from the chains that once bound them. Their stories show us that freedom is always worth fighting for. The transatlantic slave trade was a system built on cruelty and oppression, but it was met with resistance at every turn. From African queens to folktales, from mutinies to maroon communities, the enslaved fought back in ways that continue to inspire us today. These stories matter because they remind us of the resilience of the human spirit. They teach us that even in the face of overwhelming odds, there is always hope. So, as we remember this dark chapter in history, let's not only remember the pain, let's honor the courage, the resistance, and the triumphs of those who refuse to be forgotten. Thank you for joining me today on Folk Tales of Freedom. If you found this story powerful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more untold stories of resilience and resistance. Until next time, let's keep these stories alive.